Go to Thailand,
Achievement.
and there's this guy, no money, no career, no job, but he's the happiest man and the most present out of any of us here. Why is that?
Have you read Mad Search for Meaning?
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, I'll go skydiving. Okay, I'll still a cunt when I land.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Red. We are joined today by Nahom, who you know. We're also here with Shane Mullen, a professional MMA fighter and a coach out of SBG. And we're also joined by the champ of Oktagon, Will Fleury, who's joined us today. And we're just going to get straight into it. I'll let Will introduce himself and who he is.
I'm Will fucking Fleury. Champ. What else do you need to know?
Okay, and then Shane as well.
Shane Mullen, due to make my professional debut in MMA soon, and a striking coach in SBG Ireland.
Nice. First one I've got is for Will. Do you think 90% of MMA fans would last a day in your camp for fights?
Depends on the day.
And if it's for a heavyweight fight.
But like this thing, if it's them just coming in and training for a day, well, they'll probably last that day, and then there'll be bollocks the day after, and they wouldn't be able to do it again. So like, yeah, you'd get through a day, but it's like, can you do that 4 or 5 days in a row, and then can you do that for the next couple of weeks?
Okay.
So yeah, I think I wouldn't say 90% of them would last, but like, I'd say a good like 30 or 40% of the fans out there watching shit could probably do what I do for a day.
That's
just be
going
bollocks
to
the
give
day
some
after.
people some motivation to train now. That's all good. Next one I got is for Shane. Why do so many people think watching basically MMA from the comfort of their own homes in a screen? Let's say they're watching UFC and they're saying he should double leg, he should do this, he should do that. Why do people think that what they're saying could translate into a fight?
Well, like the best analogy is like, say, it's the exact same with football. You have people watching a match from an aerial view. They're not like, and they're like, how did he not see that pass? And you're not thinking of, you're seeing it from first person when you're in the moment. It's the same thing with a fight. You're looking at it from an aerial or an outside perspective, or like a third person view. You're not looking at it from the actual fighter's view. So you're going to see things the fighter's not going to see. It's why a corner's important. Like,
Gotcha, nice.
you know what I mean? So they're not technically wrong. They are seeing things that are there.
But the person from their view can't
In
basically
the first
can't see it.
person, it's so much more intimidating to shoot a takedown when you know that bloke could drive a knee through your head. Do you get me? But you're on the outside, it's like that's there. Like, I always see it with Thai fighters or like anyone from a striking background. They watch MMA, they're like, why don't they just kick all the time? Just because kicks lead to you getting taken down.
Literally.
Do you know what I mean? It's like in MMA you have to decide on there's a big consequence for making a mistake.
Which
You know
is
what
you
I mean?
getting like basically.
Or getting knocked out or getting taken down or whatever it is. You just don't want to lose a sequence, like. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's very easy to see from the outside.
Nice.
Nice answer.
Another question for Will.
Well,
What's more painful, taking a calf kick or watching somebody shadow boxing in the nightclub?
I got fucking badly calf kicked a few times. Calf kick, I'm gonna say,
calf kick.
because they last weeks as well. Those fuckers.
Is it that bad?
Yeah, you can, like, when you're watching some fucked about shallow box, you can go home. It's grand. After I get calf kicked, I go home. It still fucking hurts. So
Yeah.
that carries with you.
It stays with you. Yeah. Gotcha. Give me 1 second. Okay, this one's actually for Shane. Do you think weight cutting is just legalized self-harm?
Legal cheating?
Legal cheating?
Maybe not legalised self-harm. Like, do you
Come
know
on,
what I mean?
I've seen some
Like,
bad weight.
it's obviously very, very harmful, but
Is it?
like, it's definitely not good for you. Like,
But how do we know this?
because you're dehydrating the brain. Like,
What are the consequences of that long term?
surely it's not good. Like,
Probably not. But like,
Basic.
do we know it's not?
no, there's no.
Yeah.
We'll go with the sport's not around long enough for scientific evidence to have any actual answer.
So in about 30, 40 years, there'll be more evidence of this,
Have
right?
me back on the podcast in 30 years.
In
We'll
30
see if
years,
there's-
yeah, we'll see that, right. Okay, next one is for Will. Do you think the sport of MMA has gotten too soft and that fans have gotten too sensitive? Because back in the day, we used to watch some wild shit when UFC just started. Or do you think the sport has evolved from that savagery?
Yeah, like look, it's definitely getting better. You look at the technique, you look at fucking fights 15 years ago, it was pretty rare a guy would be as like polished and have a good overall skill set. Like, do I think fans are more sensitive? No, they're just more used to it, and it's like there's a higher expectation. So it's now becoming a little bit like soccer, where you like, they're like, oh, this guy's shit, and it's like, well, no, he's actually fucking class, man. Like, you know, it's like your expectation is higher. So as soon as somebody doesn't meet your expectations, you feel like you have a right to shit on them. Whereas, like, if you look at guys fighting 15 years ago, they were considered legends. They were given all the credit in the world, but like, they were fucking shy a lot of, well, not shy, but like, they just wouldn't be at the level where they could do well today. And there's a lot of guys from that era that really would have done well today. And I think as characters, they would have adapted to the skill set that's there now as well. So we're coming in with like more, it's like having better technology because we know what works better. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the technique is more refined now. But I think a lot of those guys would have been that good in this, like a lot of guys from that era would have been that good if they were training in this era.
Okay.
But it's like, overall, fans forgave them a lot more for mistakes. And you watch a lot of, like, look, I have Fight Pass, I go back and watch a load of the old fights a lot of the time. And there's some class stuff. There's stuff where you're like, whoa, shit, people should be utilizing that now more. Like, you look at John Jones's Greco in his first few fights, you're like, holy fuck, why did this guy stop utilizing that stuff? Because I still think it would work really well in this era. And there's just like certain skill sets out there that you're like, wow, how has that not been kind of capitalized on more or utilized more? But then overall, you see guys with massive holes and fan base, like fans generally
But do
speaking.
you
forgave them.
think the game has moved on and that's why people are not utilizing the old techniques
Yeah, in
this
some
modern
ways,
age?
yes. But then there are certain things from that where it's like, whoa, shit, I don't know how somebody would stop that now. So it's like, fuck, I don't know why this hasn't been used more. Jones's Greco is the best example. Now, again, maybe he's just not as explosive and using that shit as much as he wants it because it takes a lot of energy to do some of that shit. But it's also like, if other guys replicated that and started trying to do some of that stuff, geez, I think it'd be very effective.
Interesting. I was just going to touch on something you said there. So, like, let's take GSP. He's probably the prime, a good example. If he was to come now into our age, do you think he'd basically be able to do as well in MMA as he did back then?
It's hard to say. You're obviously just speculating, but like, if I was to pick a winner between a Khabib and GSP fight, I think Khabib would do really well in that fight. You know, I think it's impossible to say this sort of shit. Again, you look at a guy like Anderson Silva and you're like, well, when that guy was at his absolute peak, it was just the timing and the awareness and the like, you know, the way he could generate force from weird angles and weird things. Like, how do you beat that? It's kind of like, well, there's still not really a fucking definite answer there. I don't think his style would have worked as well against the skill sets that are there these days. And even back then, you look at a lot of the fights and it's like, fuck, he wasn't that dominant. And I love him. I thought he was class. But like, I think he's a guy who gets a hell of a lot of credit for having a like very solid skill set and being quite well rounded.
Opposition then would
Sorry?
it be? Would it be the opposition back then wasn't as skilled as it would have been right now? You mean?
I think there would have been holes there to exploit some of the stuff. But then he would probably have been better had he been training now and continuing to improve. Like, I think a lot of shit, it's just like, are you willing to adapt and have the mindset necessary to be as good as you can be? And he was clearly that guy. So would he have a different skill set if he was around today? Yeah, probably.
Okay. Next one is for Shane. Obviously, I know you've coached a lot of lads over the years since I've seen you in the SBG holidays. But what's the most bizarre excuse you've heard someone pull out for not fighting?
Oh.
Or pulling out of a fight, basically.
There's a lot of what you see is like people who they just tell you they have an injury. There's no visible injury, like.
There's no.
Do you know what I mean? Or like they're just like the weight cut's too much for them, and you can see it taxing on them, and they just find a way out. Like, there is, like, I've said it for years as a coach. Like, you spot these things very early on with people. Do you know what I mean? Like when I always say, like, I'll get in, say with my fighters now, I'll jump in on a Monday, we do a sparring night, and we'll do like eight trees, and if anyone's looking to fight, even if they start questioning, I'll bring them into the ring and I'll do 3 rounds with them and I'll make it intense. Because as your coach, I need to know your breaking point for like throwing in towels or anything like that. Like there's some people who, when things start going wrong, they look for a way out. Whether it's a fight, whether it's the camp starts going wrong, you have something go wrong with your personal life and you can't handle that and a fight at the same time. There's a lot of that where people just maybe they're not ready mentally to fight. Do you know what I mean? It takes a lot to kind of make that walk.
And how would you know if someone is actually mentally ready? Sometimes you can fake it. Sometimes you feel like you're okay until it's actually fight night.
But if I'm seeing you every day, I'll know. Do you get me?
Is
So
your
what would
attitude,
that
do you
be?
want to do it? Or is your attitude looking for a reason you can't do it? It's very
Exactly,
obvious. It's very
exactly,
obvious.
yeah.
As in, like, if you fucking really actually want to do it, obstacles aren't fucking there. It's like, no, I'm going to get over that thing and we're going to do it. I have a little bit of an ankle issue, but I'm strapping it this way, I'm doing it that way. If a guy comes to you like, oh, mate, my ankle, it's real bad, it's dodgy, oh, don't think I'm going to, yeah, cool, mate, don't do it.
Because there's people who make problems out of solutions. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll have something be hurt and it'll be like, all right, we'll do this and we'll work around it, or it's like, it's only an amateur K1 fight, you're going to be in there for fucking 4.5 minutes in total, it's 90-second rounds, you get a minute off. Like, and if you're making excuses for that, all right, we'll come back to this in 6 months.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
For the pull-out one, I actually have a pretty good one. So my second pro fight, the guy pulled out he failed his eye test on the day of the weigh-ins. Right? So like, I just weighed in and I got a call off. It was Decky Kenna.
Oh yeah.
It was like the first Cage Legacy show.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, he's pulled out. He's failed his eye test. I was like, right. I was like, I did that like 8 weeks ago. And he was like, yeah, he's really dodgy eyes though. I was like, right. Why did he do that today?
What's the way for?
Surely that's the first thing you fucking check before you go training for 8 weeks. Make sure you pass your eye test if you have dodgy fucking eyes, you cunt. Why was I training and couldn't wait?
Do you have to do a test?
Yeah, eye test, but that has to be weeks before your actual fight.
Yeah.
Well, it should be.
Yeah, you got to be more organized than that.
This
Not even that. It was just like, mate, you were definitely looking for a window out. You just found it last minute here. You know.
That's it.
Wow, but then, like, obviously we can talk about, you know, this guy looks solid. This guy feels like he's ready to fight. And then you have the adrenaline of fight day. When it comes to fight day, I don't care what anyone says. Everyone is scared. Everyone is anxious. And, like, I've seen Max Holloway saying, just before he walked out, he's like, why do I do this? He asks himself, why am I doing this? What is, like, you know, GSP said something like he looks at a granny, don't quote me on that, but he looks at a granny just before he's going into the arena and he's like, she has no worries in the whole world. I wish I was like her. Now, like, you can go through the whole camp, you can push yourself, and then you have audience watching you. There's people watching you. Don't get me wrong, if you get knocked out, it is the most embarrassing thing to ever happen. And it's a lot of pressure. Do you see these fighters that you're saying, as Shane said, you know, they went through the hard rounds. Do you see them still not crumbling under that pressure? Or can that change their mindset?
I don't understand the question.
So, obviously with this adrenaline and all that, and you have a big fight coming up, on fight day, it can change your mind. Do you agree with that?
I think if you've done enough work before the fight, none of that, like, okay, that adrenaline, that's energy. And yeah, it's that feeling inside you. Like, and look, like you're saying, everybody feels that thing, or you should. If you don't, there's a problem. But how are you utilising that? Like, the Mike Tyson analogy is the best one I've ever heard. It's a fire. You can let it burn you up, or you can use it to cook the food. You know, so it's like...
But do you not think that's a different technique in itself than just being mentally tough and hard in the gym?
Right, but it's how you've talked to yourself in those 6 weeks beforehand. So it's like, you know, do you see yourself as a tough guy when everything is going right? Or have you sold you to yourself as that person of like, no matter what that situation is, I just do my best. And I think that like, that was kind of always the mindset I tried to adopt, is like, right, you don't control all the circumstances of this thing, but you can control your effort within that situation. And that's something you definitely have ownership of. So no matter what, all you have to do is put in as much fucking effort into this as you can, and you can come out of it being relatively proud of yourself, even if you get knocked the fuck out. Now, getting knocked out sucks. Losing is shit. But if you know who you are and you know what you did to get to that point, you know you tried your best, you can go home and be like, okay, fuck this, I'm going to regroup and I'm going to go at it again. If you're the guy who was like, no, I know I can beat the fuck out of this guy in front of all of my friends, in front of my family, whatever, and that was what you were selling to yourself, and that was why you were training hard. Now it's like, fuck, what if you don't? So that's a different, it's like,
It's a self-doubt.
Pressure.
not even self-doubt. I think everyone should have self-doubt. I think it becomes like, how did you sell this to yourself in the first place? What is your end goal here? If your end goal is to be like a stronger human being, you can't fucking lose, mate, because you definitely come out of this stronger if you face the challenge. And now all challenges are about becoming a stronger human being. But if you sold this to yourself as, I'm going to beat the shit out of a guy in front of a load of people, that might not happen, mate. So yeah, you should be fucking nervous. You know, and it's like, what do you want from that? You know, I kind of think it's like, as long as you sell it to yourself as being stronger, you can't fail here. Just go and be strong.
Right.
I like that.
Nice. I like that too. This is for the two of yous. If you had to fight a clone of yourself from the future, who would win this fight? The current you right now today, or the clone of you in the future?
Fucking hopefully me from the future, mate. Because if I'm not getting better, I'm doing something wrong, like. Wasting me time, like. Do you know what I mean?
Literally.
I honestly think like, no matter what, you know, you always have holes. Nobody's a perfect athlete, like nobody's a perfect fighter. So I know ways or things that I have that I might be able to exploit in the future, but I don't know the future, so I don't know if we fill them holes.
Okay.
Do you get me?
And the future in you also knows all your weaknesses as well. From
Exactly. Yeah.
That's actually
so I think hopefully a future me would smash me, otherwise we're doing something wrong.
Okay. What about you, Will?
I'm in a cast. I haven't trained in 3 weeks. If future me doesn't smash me, something's seriously wrong. Like,
Okay, there's another one there. Actually, this is a very interesting one. What's the weirdest fan interaction you've ever had, Will?
fuck. There's been a good few ones recently as well. Because they're like, I was over in Prague there and people fucking watch you, like photos and all that shit constantly. It's class. It's great most of the time. Just, yeah, like one guy wanted me to hold his baby. I thought that was a bit weird. So, it's like a photo of me being like, with his kid. But he was delighted. He was a nice dude as well.
No, that's a good one, because I seen one recently. It was a girl, and basically she was like, people don't know that my biggest flex is my dad knew Muhammad Ali, and you have her as a baby and Muhammad Ali holding her, and then her dad's basically white, and he's beside Muhammad Ali, and they were actually friends. But in 20 years, that dad's going to show that basically pictures to the kid, and he's going to go, oh yeah, Will Fleury, double champ of Oktagon. And
that's actually class, yeah.
That's cool.
So I just have to keep leaving a bigger legacy so that kid can be like bragging to his mates, you know.
Exactly.
What about you, Shane? Have you had any?
We had a mad one in America before, bro. I was over in Vegas for the Conor Cowboy fight, and I was out in like the smoking area, and I heard some bloke call me name in an American accent, like, and bro, like I was 20 at this stage, like, do you know what I mean? I had like no like fucking presence, I had fuck all fights and all, and there was just some young lad, and I turn around and he's there with like an Irish, like a tricolour on him and all, like, and I was like, what the fuck, like, I was like, how does this bloke know me, like, do you know what I mean? I started chatting to him, and obviously I'd done the camp with Conor, so he'd sussed the whole training camp.
Oh, so he knew you.
Everyone,
He knew you already.
do you know what I mean?
Okay.
And he started talking to me about like my old Muay Thai fights and K1 fights. Like, bro, it was
done
and he
his
was older than me. He was like 23 or 24, like just a proper like pure MMA fan, like.
What about you, Eddie? Have you had any crazy fan interactions in your time?
I think it was yesterday. Someone says, I was waiting at the bus stop and I saw you with a Las Vegas jumper. I should have said hello. I knew that was you.
He said he told his man all about it.
He
didn't
told his
you put on a
man.
story today, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, interesting. I don't even love myself. Like.
He's going down his man, he's seen.
I'm like, he's like, and he goes, that's the biggest regret of my life, something like that. And I'm like, whoever you are, thank you very much because
People say mad shit though.
yeah.
They do.
And like it's funny because like right, look, like I've never fucking tried to be like celebrity type fucker or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
right? But like over in Prague or in Czech Republic and in Germany now, it's like, oh yeah, I'm the champ guy, whatever, right? So when people fucking see it, the reactions are like, wow, right? They're like, I'm just fucking well, mate, relax. Like, you know?
You see me every day.
Yeah. I'm sick of me, like, what the fuck? But like,
It must be good though, bro. Like, you probably
right, it is like in a way it's lovely, right? But what you also realize is like, fuck, there's a weird power that comes with this thing, and it
Yeah.
could be really easily fucked with and really easily exploited. And it's not like
Yeah.
I'm that fucking famous at the moment that like, you know, I could be like, hey, get into the back of my car there. But like, it kind of feels a bit like nobody's going to ask you too many questions no matter what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's a little bit sketchy, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, there's a thing, and like, even like.
Did I sign up for
You
this?
feel a power
Well,
trip, like.
a bit,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
sure, no matter what you do, it's positive, kind of a thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, it's fucking not, mate. You know what I mean? And I think it's like kind of like you have to be the judge of you. Don't judge yourself off other people's
Yeah,
reactions. You know what I
definitely.
Good
mean?
moral
How-
compass, bro. Do you know?
Sorry?
You have a very good moral compass.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it just feels a bit.
Some people would exploit the fuck out of that.
I'm not there quite yet, though. So like, give me 2 years and see where we're at. Like, you know?
Another
Do you
one-
feel like there's a difference between being a celebrity and just, you know, like obviously there's celebrities,
Mhm.
they're just TikTok famous. And then there's people like yourself that are actually, you know, UAE champion, double champ in one of the biggest promotions, which is Oktagon. When you're getting the support, do you think there's a difference in the feeling when you actually achieve it, or it's just the attention that's doing that? Do you feel like morally or even internally there's a difference in the, you know, gratitude that you're receiving off the people?
I don't know because I've never been on the other side. Like, I can only be me, so I don't know what it feels like to be somebody who's famous just for fucking because they wanted to be famous, kind
Yeah.
of point of view of like an influencer or like some TikTok lad or whatever. But to me, like, it's a bit like, what's the end goal here? You know, because if it's just to be famous, okay, great. How is that? Like, if that's what's satisfying your brain and you're genuinely happy, class, enjoy that. I know myself, like, I don't get that much out of somebody else thinking I'm good. It's nice. It's like, oh, cool. It's better than people telling you're a piece of shit or whatever. But it's also like, I'm much happier when I know that I've done something I should be proud of.
Yeah.
Of like, that last fight, the Talef fight, it was a fucking hard fight. Like, it wasn't me whooping that guy's ass all the time. I was getting my ass whooped for parts of that fight. And like, at the end of it all, it's like, fuck me, I'm proud of that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm proud of who I fucking showed myself I was today.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm proud because I know what I fucking had to go through to get to that point to be that guy.
Yes.
And it's like, you're kind of now that guy. That's cool.
Yes.
So there's this sense of self-satisfaction within that.
Yes.
But like, if some lad who's known me for a month and a half comes up and says, oh, you're class, you're amazing, you're the best thing ever, blah, blah. It's like, mate, a month and a half ago, you didn't know who the fuck I was. You know? So it's kind of like, how much satisfaction can you actually take from that?
Yes.
So to me, it's just like, cool.
In fact,
great.
it's a negative thing.
It's not negative. It's like, oh, great, nice one. Cheers, mate. But like, I'm not going to waste too much time in my headspace giving that fucking credit.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, mate, that guy barely knows you. And it's like, it's cool that I've done something significant and that guy gives a shit now. But it's also like, from me going forward in life, it's like, sure, I'm much more kind of interested in what my opinion of me is going to be in a year's time. And if I stop putting effort into fucking achieving things and going at things and doing whatever, and it's like, I was the double champ once, I know I feel like a piece of shit
Yeah.
in a year's time.
Yeah.
So it's like, now it's about achieving the next thing. What's the next goal? What's the next target? Move on.
Do you think that's a negative thing though? Always
Possibly,
chasing
yeah,
and you're
yeah,
never in the
possibly,
present.
Yeah. Well,
Because you feel obviously you're gonna go to the next and to the next and to the next UFC champion,
Mhm.
and then maybe you're gonna be happy for like 2 months,
But
and then you're gonna be
that's-
like, "What's next?"
you know, meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. No matter what happens, it's not final. And I do like, look, maybe I need to be a bit better, like you were saying at the start, about actually enjoying the thing and living in that moment and just going, hey, you know what, fuck this. I won. It's class. Put a lot of effort into this. Just chill for a week. Get the people you love around
A
you.
week? That's too much, isn't it?
And
I
look,
just got the UFC title. Let me chill for a week.
But again, how like this is what I feel anyway. It's definitely the way I'm wired. But like that thing lasts 2 days.
Yeah.
I get 2 days of like genuinely being able to go, oh, nice, well done. And like people are like, I'm having a few drinks with Carl and the lads, and it's like great crack. Then after 2 days, that's gone.
You're hungry again.
Well,
It's not even hungry yet. It's more like, okay, I've enjoyed the satisfaction of that thing, but the satisfaction of that is now gone. I need a new thing to chase. I need
Yeah.
a new thing to preoccupy.
Whereas
me.
the
if-
goal of achieving goals is to
whereas
achieve
if
them,
you
not
go to
enjoy the
Thailand-
achievement.
And there's this guy, no money, no career, no job, but he's the happiest man and the most present out of any of us here. Why is that?
I couldn't tell you exactly for that one dude, but like, have you read Man's Search for Meaning, the Viktor Frankl book, or have you ever even heard of it? No.
No.
It's quite like, look, it's not that profound, but his whole message in the book is basically like, you can endure a lot of shit as long as you have a reason to endure it, you know? And even that Nietzsche quote, isn't it? You can like, anyhow is possible once you know your why, you know, that type of thing of like, right, you can go through a lot as long as you have a purpose for going through this thing. And I think that sense of purpose and that sense of identity, even if it's a self-ascribed identity, because we're all mad to like, you know, you see people these days, it's like they're mad to get into a religion, they're mad to be like a conservative or a liberal or some shit. We want a tag to put on ourselves to be like, I'm this, that's why I matter, that's why I'm a thing. It's like, mate, you be that for you. You know, you just try and be the human being that you want to be. So like, set out the human being you'd like to be and then be like, right, I'm going to fucking behave like that. That's who I want to be. But also like, it's kind of a thing of without a sense of purpose, without a goal to achieve, fuck me, I find it very hard to be satisfied anyway. And that goes back to what I was saying of like the 2 days, then it's over. It's like, yeah, after 2 days, I need a new goal.
What is the purpose?
What's my
For
purpose now?
living.
Why am I getting up in the morning?
Yeah.
Because before the fight, I knew exactly why. 2 days after the fight, why am I getting up today? Have a bit of crack with the lads. Yeah, but that's going to be shit. I'm already kind of on a low brain chemistry. I've been drunk for too long now. It's like, okay, I need a reason to get up in the morning. Okay, cool. Let's get the next fight. Let's get something sorted. Then I'm mad fucking paranoid about how I'm going to be when I retire. Because what's that going to be?
What's
But
going to fill that space like?
But something will have to. And I know
Yeah,
myself,
yeah.
it's kind of like, look, mate, you figured this shit out before in life, before you have fighting, before any of
You'd
that
be a
thing.
great coach, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
right.
I appreciate that. But I have to fill that void, and
Yeah.
it's just like put something else there, and something will come. But it's also like that guy in Thailand. He's obviously found that thing, right? There's a reason he's getting up in the morning. He knows why he's getting up. You know, even if it's like I have to beg enough to survive today to do blah blah blah, and I have to be nice to people to be able to do that. But it's like in his brain, there's a purpose behind that fucking thing. And again, I'm not saying that any of these lads are satisfied all the time or whatever, but it's like we're all dogs, mate. You're happiest when you're chasing the ball. You know,
Yeah.
throw that fucking ball and go and chase it. And while you're chasing that ball, you're not thinking about fucking, you know, all the other shit of like, oh, I'm procrastinating on this too much, I'm doing that. Just fucking start doing the thing and chase that ball. Go after a thing, you know. And even if halfway through you're like, actually, that's not the ball I want, I'm going at that ball. But it's like, cool, as long as you're chasing something and building towards something and progressing in your own mind. Because progression
That's
is
why
so
mixed
addictive.
martial arts helps, obviously.
It does. It's
You're
a very
always
simple
chasing
goal.
something.
It's a very simple purpose. So like when you get up in the morning, you know what you have to do. You know, it's like, I got to eat the good food. I got to go and do this thing. I got to train today. And we all overtrain because we're looking for purpose too often.
Yes.
It's like, I need this discipline. I need this discipline because it occupies the mind. And while that mind is occupied, you're not thinking about, yeah, that was a bit shit, that thing that happened 2 weeks ago. Or like, you know, this fucking, like, you're not like, oh, when I was a kid, all that shit used to happen all the time. No, it's like, no, you just.
So you reckon all the mental issues that's happening in this day and age, it's all because there is no purpose anymore?
People lack definite purpose. So like if you work for a company and that company's screwing you over, it's like, well, why am I working for these guys? I know I can survive. I'm not going to starve even if I don't work this job. So in the morning when you get up, like, and I've been in this position, it's hard to justify that. It's like, why would I give these guys all my brain power and energy and effort? So you need to find something where you can go, actually, no, I want to give this my main brain power, my main effort. And like, I feel good giving this all of my effort. It feels good to chase this thing. And look, you got to make a living at the thing too. It's not all that fucking simple, you know. It's not like, oh, chase your dreams, chase whatever. But I'll always go back to it again because I see all this shit about like, oh, quit your job, chase your dreams, do all this. And part of me is like, yeah, well, fuck it, I did that. And I do feel like life's been pretty good to me over the last 10 years overall.
Yeah.
I can look at a lot of shit and be like, that was really shitty and hard to get through. But it is like, overall, I'm glad I went on this journey. But I would like to think that even if nothing had happened in the last couple of years, and let's say I just got that ban in 23 and that was the end of my career, right? Overall, 95% of the decisions I made during those 10 years before that, it was like, yeah, I want to be this guy. This is me doing something I'm proud of being. You know what I mean? No matter what, I'm that guy. It's like, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this thing. This is the best effort I can give to getting towards that goal.
Oh, so it's not just about having the purpose. It's about the purpose that you're chasing has to genuinely, from the inside, have to make you proud.
Yeah, well, like, be someone you're proud of being. So even like, we're all talking about like achieving all these mad goals and blah, blah. And I'm like, here, it's actually not achieving the goal. It's being somebody that you want to be. Because while you're on the way to achieving that goal, you're going to have to be that guy that you wanted to fucking be in the first place. So even if you don't get to the fucking goal, you're still the guy. Right? Because they go like, look, like people go off on these fucking mad things. Oh, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be this. I want to be that. And it's kind of like, right, like maybe you don't all fucking get there, right? But you can definitely be someone you're proud of being. You know, nobody can stop you from doing that. Like, money is a finite goal, money, whatever. Your sense of perspective on being proud of yourself and the actions you take on a daily basis, nobody can stop you from being somebody that you are proud of being.
Okay, so we're just going to be finishing up on the lot of questions. We'll just have two more. This one is for Shane. You come across as someone who takes the fight game very seriously. What's something that you find cringe in the MMA culture?
Oh, I think like now on like a bigger stage, like when it comes to like the UFC and all, it's understandable. But like you see it a lot where people adapt. Not even a persona, but they try do things for other people nearly. They try take on personas from other people and implement it onto themselves. Yeah, so like obviously we seen it with Conor, and he was very authentic in the way that he went about things. But then you see fucking, what's his name?
The Somali McGregor.
No, not you. What's your man's name?
Was it Cody Barron?
Colby Covington.
Colby Covington.
Yeah, like you can see that's very cringy. That style
put
of
on,
doing,
like.
yeah, it's very put on, and it's like very unauthentic. And then that doesn't draw a lot of people.
Because people can see that's
Because
fake.
people
like.
can see through it, and I think that's kind of becoming nearly normalised. Like we always talk about it, like MMA is becoming the WWE. Do you know what
But
I
I
mean?
have a question for you. So, of course, it's great to be authentic, but McGregor literally gave the blueprint on how to be rich. So there's going to be people that's going to ask you, McGregor gave the blueprint how to get paid more. And we all know as fighters, it's about, at the end of the day, you need to make a living.
Yeah.
You need to feed your family. And as they say, closed mouths, what was it? Closed mouths
Closed mouths don't get fed.
don't get fed. So my question to you would be, okay, let's say
I'm not saying nothing's wrong with talking, or nothing's wrong with having a persona, or talking shit, or doing whatever. Do whatever the fuck you want. But once it's authentic, do you know what I mean?
some people don't have that, and they
But
want to get paid.
Why not?
But then they will find it. Do you get me? It doesn't
if your
have to
goal
be
is
put on
fighting-
and fake.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you're-
Will.
But like, here's the thing. If your goal is to be the best fighter out there,
No. That's not the goal right now. The goal that we want is, let's say, money.
okay.
I want to be the
Why do you want
richest
to be
fighter.
rich?
How, me personally?
Yeah, why?
Why do I want to be
Yes.
rich? Feed my family.
Is it really?
Be
Do you not-
financially.
are you not
be
fed?
financially free. And this is
No,
not
no,
about me.
But
I just
ask
want to
yourself,
know.
genuinely ask yourself these questions. So you're not in fear of not having food, right? You don't have a fucking family to feed. You can feed yourself fine. So that's not the real thing, right? Why do you want to be rich?
To be financially free,
Have options in life, yeah.
have options, get as many girls as I want,
Why do you want those things?
because I feel goddamn good.
Yeah. So it's like, I want to feel good. That's the bottom line, really, isn't it?
Gotcha.
You want to exist in this place of positive chemistry and be like, yeah, fucking it, being alive is class.
Gotcha.
All right, cool. Do you think that if you have to be someone you don't like being to get there, you'll enjoy that?
Absolutely not.
Then why the fuck are you being somebody you don't want to be to get money?
Do you get the point?
Yeah, no, I get the point.
Like-
But some people might just do it. Let's say I genuinely prioritize me being successful, and that's the way I see it. What would your advice be?
See, what's successful?
Successful to that specific person would be like, I want to make money, and the way I am right now is I don't like cameras, I don't like talking on camera, and showing myself I feel like I'm insecure enough it's just not good enough to draw attention to me, which promoters are not going to like me. I'm not going to get paid, I'm not going to be the main card, and maybe I don't feel like I am, my fighting style genuinely will draw people. So there's going to be people that will think that.
So like, look at Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva was getting paid mad money back in the day, top more than most fighters, and came to the UFC late in his career. Was in his 30s, and he managed to build a huge platform. We're still talking about him now. There's still fighters who idolise him, and he never talks shit. Bloke sounded like a fucking 12-year-old girl when he talked. Do you know what I mean? Cunt wasn't intimidating at all. Like, do you know what I mean? But he managed to.
Maybe we're gonna have to cut that out, Ivan.
You've already said for your son.
No, he already slated his son. But this is the thing. It's like results matter.
Gonna come back to you, Will.
Results are what matter. The results are the primary driver. You could have the best marketing team, the best persona, the best. Conor would not be Conor if he didn't finish all them fights. Do you get me? If all of that talk was there and he just lost, like back to my point with Colby Covington, why does nobody respect the bloke?
The
'Cause
losses.
he just loses. Do you know what I mean?
All the talk and then no
all the
action
talk
back
and
on
then
the
doesn't show up or doesn't perform like he's talking about. Do you know what I mean? So the talk it's not irrelevant. It helps with the results, but it's irrelevant without the results.
I would go back to why isn't, like you were talking about, like, okay, what if you're not naturally the guy who's like comfortable in front of the camera? Cool. Why are you uncomfortable in front of a camera? Let's look at that question, right? I'm not the guy whose fighting style is that attractive. Why not? Right? Because it's like, mate, if your end goal is to be class at this thing, and this is actually something you're passionate about being good at, you're going to find them fucking answers eventually. Maybe not right now, because the process is long and hard, but like, if you're actually genuinely interested in being really good at the thing and want to generate wealth from that and be the guy that you're proud of being, those answers come, right?
Way before the camera.
Not even way before the camera. Like, who knows? It depends on your innate personality in a way and the way you were raised and all that type of shit. But like, here's the thing. You're saying like end goal is success, money, all that type of thing, right? Ultimately, if you go and you start talking a lot of shit to guys and it's inauthentic and you're kind of like, whoa, fuck, right? You're going to find that guy who's going to whoop your ass someday, and then it's going to be like crush, crumble, all that type of buzz. Like, of like, oh shit, I got exposed. People like, whereas like, if you're the guy who's genuinely trying to be really fucking good at the thing, and eventually you develop that confidence and you start talking a little bit, and you get in a close fight, whenever you lose a fucking pretty close fight, and say, right, I'm going to find solutions, I'm going to get that. Boom. You're not going to feel like, oh, I got exposed, I got crumbled. It's like, no, I'm good. I'll learn. I'll come back. I'll
Better than I was yesterday.
Look at how many examples there are of that. Like, there's so many guys who've gotten like badly fucked up a few times. Like Oliveira, unbelievable example of that thing. Like, of like, look, very average for most of his career, but just like kept being like, no fucking, I'm going to find a way to be class at this thing. Very unique dude, very unique buzz, style, whatever. Has that belief. Holloway as well. Has that kind of just like belief of like, yeah, it's blessed time. Let's go. I'm blessed. Come on, like, you know, it's like class. Well done. And like, it's infectious because it's real. And you see the skill of it. You're like, fuck, that's class. And like,
so you reckon real is what sells? Real.
not even, like, you see, you're focused on what sells. It's like, mate, what's the end goal? Like, because you're saying
Selling.
Why is selling the goal?
Well, I'm just speaking on behalf of the people that would like selling before anything. This person probably doesn't even want to be a world champion. He just wants a lot of money, a lot of clout, and is an attention seeker. So how can we fulfill his dream?
I suppose if that is your dream, chase
Yes.
that thing. But then, like, what happens when you get to the end of that? Like, if you're the guy, you want to be famous or you want to be like rich from this point of view. So let's say you find a way to fucking hack TikTok and you hack the algorithm. Say you're an Andrew Tate type character, right?
Gotcha.
And that's your ideal of success. So like, you fought at a certain level, you did this thing, you know, you're now like internet famous, you tell people what to believe and all that type of shit. I would look at that and go, do you like you? Do you enjoy being alive and do you like who you are? And ultimately, isn't that the fucking end goal?
Yes.
Wasn't that always the end goal to start with, right? We exist for this fucking 70, 80 years, maybe, hopefully, if we're all fucking living a while. And it's about being in as good a place of chemistry in our own heads while we're alive, right? Does Andrew Tate seem like a happy individual to you? Look at that dude talk on camera for 10 seconds. You're like, fuck, that guy's very frustrated with me. Do you know what I mean? You're like, I wouldn't like to be in his skin, to be honest.
Yeah,
You know,
and I dialogue.
And I look at a lot of people who are considered successful. And
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, I would not like to be in their skin.
Okay.
And then you're looking at this guy out in Thailand going, like, that dude looks fucking happy enough.
Yeah.
And I'd say you're telling yourself, fuck, wouldn't be bad to be in his skin. Wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, let's look at it from that point of view.
Okay.
And let's be like, that guy's successful. Like, I know fucking taxi drivers who I consider genuinely successful human beings. They've raised a family and they're relatively happy, and the people around them love them. And it's like, shit, that guy's killing it at life.
Yeah.
Right? And then I look at certain people who are fucking super rich, super famous, they're coke
Billionaires
addicts,
that are not
they're
even
fucked in
happy.
their head. You can tell they hate being them. It's like, that is not anyone's idea of success, or it fucking shouldn't be anyway.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm thinking like, if you wake up and you feel tortured and you have to do a fucking line of coke to get going in the day, you know, you got to drink yourself through the fucking day.
No matter how successful you are.
Well, is that successful? Like we're still putting those words. So it's like, once we achieve monetary fucking, you know, it's like monetary success is success. Mate, I've been around, like, my parents were antique dealers, right? So I grew up, like, I was delivering to fucking super wealthy people's houses a lot. So I saw a lot of really, really wealthy people who were fucking miserable. No, I saw a lot of wealthy people who were relatively happy as well. Money doesn't mean you can't be happy.
Yeah.
It gives you the fucking option in life, like you were saying.
Yes.
Options are a good thing. You have choices. You can go and fucking, hey, this might be fun. I might go and try that thing, right? But ultimately, a lot of very, very wealthy people
Yeah.
are very, very unhappy.
So you need to fix it.
Is that because they want more? Is that
Sorry?
because they're unhappy because they want more?
No,
or
I think they don't like who they are. They
Yes.
don't like themselves.
You got to fix yourself.
No amount of money
fundamentally.
can fix that.
Will fucking Fleury.
Well, just going
No
back to
filter.
what you said there was what you said there was actually very good, because basically what you said was that people on the basically on the inside they hate themselves, even though they're wealthy. They hate themselves.
Yeah.
But on the outside, from basically another person's point of view, they're looking at this person and saying, "Oh, they have everything I could ever want. They got the flashy cars. They've got the big house. They've got like a nice looking girlfriend, all that kind of stuff." But what you're saying is that on the inside they're not happy. But for on the outside, people are looking into that. They're, oh, that's legal. They're living a great life and everything like that.
Yeah, basically. And like, look, if you don't like who you are, how the fuck are you supposed to be happy?
That is true.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is you need to do some inner work and see who you really are. Basically.
Yeah, and that sounds very like
Stoic.
airy fairy fucking yoga bullshit. Like, but it is like,
I was gonna say yoga.
well, it's kind of it's like we're all like, oh, you have to get very spiritual to do that. Like, I don't feel like I'm
Just
spiritual.
search inward, like, you trying.
Sort of.
Doesn't
but
have
like,
to. Doesn't like that's just taken by that whole woke thing now. It's like,
Yeah. But go on a walk and have a fucking
Yeah.
think. You
Yeah.
know, like, you know.
No, I must say, the way you've explained it there, Will, even I didn't have the understanding, you know, I didn't understand it clearly. You've made it very clear, and I have to say, it's a genuinely big
You're a new
word to
man,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, way open them.
Anybody that's watching this, I think I'm gonna have to delete my TikTok, but that's all I'm saying. Because honestly, though,
Smart never
no, honestly,
yeah.
this is like what we spoke about there. You've explained that happiness and real happiness is internal, and if you're not happy internally, there's nothing external that can change that. And even if you want to be a fighter, even if you want to, you know, push to the highest, you fundamentally need to be right, and that's what you've explained. So
And it needs to be done for yourself.
Will fucking Fleury.
Boom.
That's
Cheers.
what
That
it
was
is.
that was some solid stuff. That's some good nuggets there.
Cheers.
Last loaded question: if you could
Are we still in the loaded questions?
actually not boring. If you could legalize any MMA move to make it legal in a fight, what would it be?
As in, like, you wouldn't get locked up if you done this in a street fight.
No, as in, as in basically any.
Fight, like,
Oh, in an MMA
in
fight. Oh, okay.
You're not gonna get disqualified,
Oh, okay.
and you can do any move. What's the move?
He's a dirty bastard. This fella, I can't wait to hear from you on this one.
We'll let you go
No, you go first. You go first.
Go on, let's hear it.
I'd say soccer kicks, bro. Straight, yeah.
Is that not legal in one, or was it Glory, or which one was it?
Pride.
Pride, it was legal in. It was legal in one for a while, but I think when they got that Sky Sports deal, they had to scrap that. Because I have this belief, man, and I just have always thought about it from like, if it's there, you should be able to do it. Do you know what I mean? 90% of the time, like obviously, like we have like little things, like we know like the back of the head's a very dangerous area to hit, like do you know what I mean? Things like that. So obviously,
And the throat, is that allowed? Allowed knee people in the throat? Is that
I
DQ?
don't think it's
I don't think you're allowed to target the throat, but
Yeah, I don't think if it accidentally happens, there's
yeah,
no
no one's
issue.
going to call you up on it.
Yeah,
like.
but whether like if I accidentally soccer kick someone, there's gonna be a problem. Like, but I
You
think
do
should
that
be
in
legal.
5-5s in SPG, bro.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, John Kavanagh, bro. You do, like, we don't even know what to say to you.
Man.
Oh, wait. That's,
Do you get me?
bro, it's wrestling class, bro.
Yeah. You're trying to
Give him
elbow
soccer
people.
kicks.
But yeah, no, I think soccer kicks is a good one. I don't
Okay.
think it should be illegal.
What about you, Will?
I don't know, like it would have been knees to the head, but they've made that legal now. So that whole like
While
ground
on the
and pound
ground?
thing. Yeah, so like I think if you're on your knees, even maybe on your knees. Now it happened to me in my last fight. The guy kneed me while I was on one knee, but I was kind of like, I'm good. We can keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that should be illegal. I don't want soccer kicks, to be honest.
Yeah, I had a
It's
feeling.
just like, it's fuck that. I've been kicked in the head on the ground a few
As
times.
we said, you're good at heart, Will. You're with a different specimen, right?
But like, have you ever gotten one? Like,
Yeah, bro.
have you been soccer kicked? That? Yeah, it's just like, I'm good without having that.
I have, yeah. Outside Summer Hill. Outside the Croker. You wake up asking what happened.
MMA it is.
So like,
Yeah.
I'm good without that. Whereas knees in the head, like even in that front headlock position, I think if a guy is stalling there, you should be allowed to knee him in the head.
Remember how Mighty Mouse got knocked out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that should be legal,
Yeah.
100%. Oh yeah, we're in agreement with the knees
Yeah.
to the head on the ground.
So knees to the head is something.
Yeah.
Knees to the head and soccer
Soccer
kicks.
kicks,
There you
yeah.
go. Right.
Will,
God, yeah.
you look like, you seem like a nice guy. So I actually want to ask you this question.
Right.
What's MMA to you?
That's deep enough, though. It's purpose, I suppose, is the main thing. Like, it gives me a reason to go at something, and it's something relatively intense. Where, like, when I have a fight booked, every day has purpose. You know, you're managing your weight, you're training, you're preparing for the guy, you're watching videos of him, you're breaking him down, you're seeing little things. It's a reason for your brain to be active. It's a reason for your body to be active. And like, you get to fucking socialize. I meet cunts like you, and I have to put up with you for a while. You know? So like, it's all of that, and that's a very like nice kind of simple purpose in life. And it's also these days, thank fuck, it's a way I can make a living through it as well. So it's all of those things. Yeah.
Gotcha. Shane,
What was the question again?
what's MMA to you?
I'd say very similar. Like it gives an amazing like purpose in life that isn't like very achievable through other means. Like, do you know what I mean? And then there's a great community. Do you know what I mean? Like the people I've met along the way, the opportunities I've had since starting training and everything is just things that would have never came to me through doing anything else in my life. You know what I mean? So it's definitely it gives a lot of purpose, and then also you figure out a lot about yourself as well. Do you know what I mean?
I'm breaking people up.
And breaking people.
Too different. You're trying to be like Will too much, bro.
Even the yang, bro. Do you get me? It's like you have that.
Enjoy breaking control.
There's nobody who does this who doesn't like hurting people. Do you
A
get
bit,
me?
yeah, a bit.
Like,
But, like-
there's nobody, bro.
Yeah.
Even Will.
Yeah, no, I fucking love smacking cunts. Like,
Like a little bit psychotic, you know what I mean? And it's like it's a nice way to get them.
So you feel like anybody that does this game, they're a little bit gone.
Yeah,
You tap your head,
look at that. The
You have to
evidence
be.
is there. Like, look at, you know,
we sign
Do you
contracts.
think? Do you think we're all? Do you think we're all attention seekers?
not necessarily.
Not all of us.
because
I feel like to walk into a cage locked, you know, and it's not just money. We don't do this for money.
No.
And I've realized this. I've realized this. Misfits came to me, offered me mad money. I wasn't happy. PFL, less money. I am the happiest. So we certainly don't waste, you know. For how long were you amateur, Will?
oh, good while, like 2010 to 2015, 16, 6
So
years.
that's like 6 years, 10 years, not getting paid, enjoying going to a cage and fighting. So we certainly don't do it for money. What is it that we do it for?
purpose.
Attention.
Yeah. purpose, possibly attention.
Like,
Now, DJ, you do it for content.
yeah, we do it for content, yeah. No, but let's just say, like, what's one they said? Would you fight in a crowd if there was nobody there? Would you still fight in basically in a cage if there was no fans?
Yeah, bro, 100%.
Yeah, I just
No fans, no pay.
That's the
Just
thing,
need that, and
because
just
the adrenaline actually is addictive.
Yeah,
physically.
yeah,
Like as
yeah.
in, I've noticed it over the years because I didn't think I was actually hooked on that shit. When I haven't got that in a while, it's like you start to crave it a little bit, and I want to go. And I'm like, oh, I could go skydiving. Could I do something? I noticed myself looking up stuff just to get like a hit. Of like, oh, you might die doing it. Like, it's kind of like, oh, I used to be as like that before. But it's like I've had that high from the adrenaline so many times. It's like my brain remembers the drug and it wants it again. So I think, yeah.
You could only get that from fighting?
It's definitely a good way of getting it. And again, like, even that, it's like the bigger the challenge, the more the adrenaline.
Yeah.
You know? So there is that physiological reward within you, like just from your chemistry and your body at that point. Of like, wow, that was class. After you've had a really hard fight, and if you won that fight, to be honest, even like, I've had one or two fights like where I was like going balls to the wall and got beaten, and I came out and like, you're not sad for the first kind of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You're like, shit, this sucks, and you know it's gonna hurt a load, but it's like it takes a while to physically hit you because the adrenaline still kind of rewards you.
Yeah.
You're still in that like internal reward state.
You done it.
Yeah, I still went through it. I fucking gave it my best. I'm still ready to. And then the suck comes, like, you know what it does. And the
The
suck
ego
stays.
starts kicking in. As
Yeah,
I say.
exactly, yeah.
And you
then-
start beating yourself up kind of thing? Or could have
yeah, like, should have done this, should have done that. And then also, it's like, you get labeled. And this is the thing, we all do give a fuck what other people think.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, I do. Everybody does. But
Because
you
we're
get
attention seekers.
a bit, maybe a bit, like, there's something there.
We're friends. It's
Look,
all
like,
good. We
right,
can agree with me.
Right, but like, every human being has an ego. We all see ourselves as something. And losing obviously challenges that in a way of like, oh shit, you thought you were going to win that, obviously.
Yeah. And you've been
Yeah.
telling yourself for X amount of weeks that
Yeah.
this is going to happen. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And then for me personally, the worst thing that's ever happened when I lose a fight is if I lose a fight and I haven't emptied the gas tank. If it's like there was more to go there. And then you're left with this whole thing of, oh, what if we had of? Do you know what I mean? That's the worst
the
feeling
worst
for
one,
me. Yeah.
So my first loss, it was just like the first thing I knew about it was Dan Mergliata was sitting over me. And I was like, no. And he was like, yeah, buddy, yeah. He was so understanding. He was such a good dude, like, because he knew exactly how I was feeling that moment. And I was kind of just in like disbelief. I was like,
Was it
no.
a KO or?
Yeah.
okay.
So I got like through a teep and he caught the teep and pulled me and hit me with like a good shot there. And then he hit me right in the chin and that stiffened me. And then he hit me while I was on the ground once as well, right? And he like, because he kind of just like held me, like, so I kind of woke as he was like getting to me. But it was like, I saw him and it was like I was fully conscious straight away. And I was like, no way. He was like, yeah, buddy. And I was like, no. And he was like, yeah. And then like, so he basically like gave me a hug. Nearly like, he was just kind of like, it's okay. And I was just like, fuck. And then he kind of just left me to sit there for a sec. I
So
was just like, no, wait, what?
So you reckon a ref must also know how to engage with people or be a therapist almost?
If they're a good ref.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah.
a good dude. Like, he's
Unlike some people choking people out in fight shows. Listen, I'm at that warning you, yeah? You do that one more time, I'll elbow the life out of you, yeah? You're not even a fighter, you're a boxer, yeah?
Explain it. There was this fucking, I was reffing this boxing show a while ago, and this bloke, he headbutted your man, yeah? And so I'd said it to him, I was like, obviously, like when I say break, you just fucking break, like you just don't be throwing punches or anything, like, because I'm getting in the way is. And it happened, there was like 1 or 2 fights before this one, and there was 2 like 100 kilo blokes, and I was like pulling them apart, they both started swinging, like, and it's like, lads, like, I'm gonna go swing. You just hit me, like, do you know what I mean? So I like lost it and I went mad at them, and then I was still kind of like riding that high of like being like a bit nuts, and this young lad was boxing, and he fucking, I went to push him against the ropes to like separate the clinch, and your man used the push to like headbutt your man. And I knew the young lad as well, and I grabbed
the
him.
lad he headbutted?
Yeah.
Right.
It's Steve's little brother.
Right.
Costello's little brother, yeah. So I grabbed him from the chin and pulled him back, and he went to walk towards me, like, as in, like, what are you doing? And I grabbed him by the neck and I was like, mate, I'll kill you. This is just a
Forget about the refing. I'm like, don't do that, ref. Don't do that, ref.
This cunt's front row breaking his bollocks laughing. Well, it's good because the camera angle didn't catch it.
Nice.
The camera angle was behind my left shoulder, so it looks like I just took
Promoter is going like, what is going on?
The ref's about to
more
get
chin training toddlers a few weeks later.
How did the young lad fucking...
No, man.
Shout out to Declan Kennan. That was a great scrap. What do you think of that?
Oh, mate.
How did the young lad take it after?
Oh no, he was grand. Like he didn't have a problem. Like I let the fight keep going. 'Cause
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
good.
I'm either gonna have to stop the fight. You're breaking the rules. You've
Yeah,
just
don't be
loafed
headbutting
somebody in the
lads.
fucking
Yeah,
boxing
yeah,
fight. Like this isn't Letway. Like, do you know what I mean?
Moving on, guys.
So next one is, what do you think about the current state of MMA and all the promotions we have going on right now? What would you say is actually the state of MMA?
The market's a bit weird now. So, like, you have a couple of good European promotions coming up. Oktagon are obviously doing really well. They're massive in Germany right now. They've made themselves really mainstream over there. That's great. From a fighter's point of view, you know, there's a market there to be exploited, if you know what I mean. WoW FC are doing really well in Spain. Eras and Hexagon and a couple of crowds in France are doing pretty good
What
shows.
about PFL?
Yeah, look, they're obviously established a little while longer, but again, and I hope I'm wrong here, but it looks like that's not sustainable what they're doing right now. So there's a lot of money going out. I don't know how they're generating the money to come in. So if you look at all of these shows, they're selling big tickets everywhere they go. So Octagon, like, they sold 60,000 tickets last year. You go anywhere, like all the shows that I've been at, it's like 15,000, and it's sold out every time. And it's not like sold out 80% full. It's fucking packed. It's great. It's amazing. And it's like, they're obviously investing a lot into like making themselves mainstream in the markets that they're in. They're definitely generating enough money to keep going. And, you know, they're allowing guys to progress their careers through that. I look at the PFL and I'm like, there's a lot of money going out. I don't know their TV deals, but they don't look big enough to sustain what they're doing right now. So no matter what, even if you have a lot of funding, eventually that funding is going to get sick of giving you money and not seeing any return on it. I hope that they can generate enough money to stay going, because it's better for everybody. Ultimately, like, you know, more competition in the market from any fighter's point of view, it's good. I see that as like, they're probably, I hope this isn't right, but in 5 years, I don't know if they're going to be there. And then it's going to be the UFC versus lots of much smaller promotions. Now, there's definitely going to be an ability for any of the promotions out there that are doing that sort of thing now. Like, if you look at WoW, they're selling big tickets in Spain. There's a lot of promotions that have like kind of targeted a place and are doing really well domestically there. You know, Octagon are the biggest right now. Like KSW were kind of doing it in Poland 5-6 years ago. Now Octagon are doing it within Czech Republic and Germany. And it seems like with the way they do things and how well set up and professional they are, there's an ability to grow that out. That's going to be better for the fighters coming along. So like, you know, in 5-6 years when I'm gone, are there opportunities for the young lads who are coming up? With the way things are right now, I hope that those promotions continue to grow and can become a legitimate kind of bargaining tool for you to now say, hey, the UFC are trying to screw me over, they're not giving me what I can actually go to one of these guys.
Because UFC is at the top and they're not.
And it's basically a monopoly situation now where they can go to a guy, offer shite money and be like, sure, what else are you going to do? Because that's the reality.
Yeah,
right now,
yeah.
it kind of is. It's like, unless you're unbelievably well established in one of the domestic promotions, what are you going to do? They're the guys, and then kind of the PFL are offering half decent money, but it's kind of like, you're not really going to build your career off it, and will it be there in a couple of years? So if I was a young fighter right now, I'd be looking at the whole thing going like, shit, it's a tough enough market to be coming into.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, look, get with the guys who are
There's no
paying you the most.
stability. Look.
Again,
Yeah.
it's not a stable industry in the
Yeah,
first place.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It never has been. So like, when I was coming
Stable
up, there was
people.
no stability. As in, look, I made my pro debut and Hal Carvalho died the week after that, yeah? So I came in at the worst possible time. So like, I made my pro debut, and then essentially MMA was banned in Ireland for like the best part of a year. You know, that was, I was April 2nd, 2016, and I think he died April 9th, 2016.
R.I.P. Carvalho.
Yeah, yeah,
R.I.P.
very sad state of affairs, that whole thing. But like, after that, it was Bama shows were coming once or twice a year. There wasn't, and even like they were paying like a couple of £100, you know. So it wasn't like there was any opportunity to actually make a living out of it. I just had a mad buzz where I went off to Africa and then Brave and did a load of mad stuff. Like, as in, I went a couple of crazy situations happened in my career where I was kind of like with a load of different promotions, one fight after the other, and then I got the Bellator contract, and that did change things. As in, like, I was getting paid more than twice as much for Bellator as I was for anyone I'd fought for previously. You know, and then like, if there was something like that now, like the PFL is kind of seeming to be, but they're trying to push guys on contracts and do things that aren't great for the fighters. And I don't want to shit on them too much because I know everyone's shitting on them right now. But it is like, I wouldn't be advising, if I was a coach for a young fella, I wouldn't be like, yeah, definitely sign with them. I'd be like, get a short-term deal and make sure the money's not bad. Because like, that money might not be there in 4 or 5
Do you
years.
think the sport as a whole is progressing though, like than it was before to now? There's more money, there's more competition, there's more promotions. You know, as a whole though,
Yeah, it's
is
growing.
the sport growing?
So, okay, so look, let's separate it into like sport for MMA and prize fighting. So from a sporting point of view, yeah, look, the techniques are getting better. People's overall skill sets are growing. You can see it. Like, it's in like just the general level of talent is better, right? There are more fighters at a higher level at the moment. But are there more opportunities out there for those guys to make legit money in their lives? I don't know. That's a tough question to answer. And again, like, look, for the top guys, yeah, there's probably a better ability to make legit money right now. For the average guy, it's now more like, oh, it's a tougher market. But then again, it's that sport of like, be the king or don't be anyone.
Yeah.
So like, you kind of have to have that attitude of like, I'm going to go for the whole thing and I want to be the best I can be. And like within that, why the fuck can't I beat everybody else? And if there are reasons there, find those reasons and eliminate them.
That's actually really good, bro. Let's also touch on, do you know when you went to Oktagon, like how did that journey go when you landed in Oktagon? Because I noticed you did have that, I did see that one fight where you went hell for leather with that one lad. You said just about boxing the head off each other, and then you won that belt, and then you've also recently won another belt, and you're a champ. But what was the journey like?
Well, when I originally signed with them, they were coming in to build the English and Irish market. So there was a lot of hype behind my first fight. So I signed with them, and then off my own back, I did this call out video where I printed out the list of the top 10 and I basically slagged everyone on the list of the top 10. Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. So like, I'm saying like, oh, you don't want to be, but this was real. I was genuinely frustrated. I was coming off like I hadn't fought in a year because I'd been banned. It was a year and a bit because I'd been banned for like 9 months because I tested positive for steroids back in 23. So I got
Will, fella.
Sorry.
You're the will, fella.
Well, it's the truth of it, right? And this is it. Like, it's kind of like, look, be proud of who you are and live with what you've done, right? So I got offered a chance to win the $1 million. It was the $1 million tournament, but they wanted me to move up a weight class. So I was like about 93, 94 kilos walking around at that stage. And most of my main training partners at the time, Johnny Walker, Carl Moore, they're big light heavyweight lads. They're about 104, 105. I knew I wasn't that size. And I was kind of like, right, I've been kind of dabbling with the idea of doing this for a long time. I was like, well, obviously this is like the window to go and fucking do that shit.
Yeah.
But the dude I beat, he was also taking steroids. No, but like I got this the thing. Yeah. So like, and this is the thing, 6 out of 10, there was 10 guys in the tournament, 6 of the guys ended up testing positive on that one night. So it was like,
So you basically done it because you didn't have a choice.
no, I wouldn't put it like that. I definitely had a choice.
Yeah, no, of course, but like it's all great having.
I want
having
you
a
to be my
choice and
solicitor.
No, but it's all great having a choice. But what I'm saying is, if your opponent is on it, and if
Yeah.
you're not even, if the training center that you're in is like, you're just probably gonna get injured, or you're just gonna be like, I tried to be, I tried to not do anything like that, but then I just lost. It's better to be sorry than fucking.
Well, look, ultimately, you live with yourself. That's the whole thing. So I was like, can I go and not do anything and win this $1 million? And like,
Yeah.
it wasn't about the money. It was about achieving something in my career and liking who I was.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, and this is the reality of this, right?
Yeah.
A year and a half before, 2 years before this, I fought during COVID in June of 2020. And it was a fight. It was like supposed to be a catchweight, but it ended up being a light heavyweight fight. I weighed about 92, 93 kilos at that stage. I was going in with Mateus and Phantom, and we were training like once a week. And I was coming like the odd time he'd have a few of his Polish mates down, and we'd just spar for a day, and then I'd come in and I'd do it the next week again. And eventually he was like, here, there's a like 100 kilo Polish lad over in Germany who wants to fight you. Like they're doing a show. There's a guy they have, and they'll do the fight at 90 kilo catchweight. I was like, yeah, cool. Now, I showed up and that lad wasn't like some fat Polish lad that had been like the guys I'd been sparring for the last kind of 6 or 8 weeks. He was like juiced to the gills, good fight. Like I'd watched him beforehand. And this is like this thing. I should have done my own research here. That's like, I fucked up and I learned from this because I watched a few videos of the guy. This was like a couple of years previous. There was videos of him fighting like back in 2018, 2017. And then he hadn't fought in a while. And his last fight, he was a solid fighter technically, but he looked a little bit out of shape and he didn't look that good. And I was like, I'll absolutely smash that lad. My technique's better than his and I'm in better shape than he is. Because I've been out running and doing a bit of Olympic lifting in my yard and stuff like that. And I thought like, yeah, even if I'm like, I've been going in sparring once a week and other than that, I'm just doing like fitness training and strength work. And I was like, I'm pretty fucking strong. I'm pretty fucking fit. Let's go. I went into that fight and I got absolutely smashed. Right, I like it was a second round submission, and for most of the first round, he was beating the fuck out of me as well. Now, I thought he was going to gas because in that first round, he was really inefficient. He was using so much strength. He was a big dude. He was a lot bigger. He looked jacked as fuck. And I came away from that fight and I was like, right, performance enhancers work because that dude was definitely on some shit. Like, there's no two ways about it. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to enter that situation again. I'm not going to go back and do that type of thing. Like, no way am I ever have my ass whooped by a guy who's juiced up again.
You're like, I'm going to level the playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was just like, right, you know, if it's going to be me getting my ass whooped by some guy who's just fucking juiced up, or me being the guy on juice whooping some guy's ass, I'm going to be the guy on juice whooping someone's ass.
Yeah.
You know, that's the fact of that matter. Like, you know,
I hear
it's
that
like,
a lot of people
fuck
say that
you.
too. Yeah.
But the steroids aren't what like allows you to whoop ass, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
It's more like
work.
it levels the physical playing field.
Yeah.
Now it's about who's the better fighter.
Yes.
You know, so look, I did that fucking thing and whatever. I came through that, but I was coming off of that all of that. Like, as in, like, I had the ban, and then going into that first Oktagon fight, they were building me because they wanted to build in the English and Irish market. So it felt like, fuck, these guys are good. They're promoting it well. They're very well organized. And they had me fighting this guy, Didi Shkvor. And there was a bit of hype behind it because I called out Carlos and I called out all the guys at the top of the division. And I broke my hand about, I think it was 2.5 weeks before the fight. So I was sparring with Sean Strickland over in Vegas, and I threw an overhand and he just blocked with his elbow, and the base of my thumb kind of down around here hit his elbow, and I just felt it was like, I thought I dislocated it because it just felt
How'd
like
you get
pop.
on with Sean Strickland?
Yeah, good. Like, he's actually not like, I see a lot of shit he puts up online and he seems like a psychopath. In person, he's way more normal and supportive. No, he's still a bit of a psycho. Like you said, everybody who does this shit, they're tapped, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, when you feel the guy in real life, you're like, he's not a dickhead. And like, I've had my issues with him. Like, after I broke this hand, he was like, yeah, you're reckless, bro. And I was like, not the fucking time to be saying this, man. Do you know, it's just not. Like, it's like, just shut the fuck up for a minute, yeah? I'm here dealing with this. I might be out of my fucking fight. This might be my career is over. So maybe just shut the fuck up for a sec. But overall, he's not a bad fella. Like, I quite like him, right?
It was nice to know when to talk.
I went to shut the fuck up.
What was the American hospital bills like?
I didn't actually get through. Well, I got a stem cell injection actually, which I don't think did any good for me. But I went to like an X-ray place because I got X-rayed. It was $80. Wasn't bad. I was actually surprised by that.
That's all
'cause
right.
You go to A&E in Ireland, it's £100, and I was just really like, whoa, that was reasonable out. And then I got an MRI that was $600. Yeah, I forgot because I was like, oh, it wasn't too bad. I was like, no, it was bad enough. And then I went to the specialist girl, and that was $200. And she like, basically she was like the big hand specialist. She reviews all the UFC people, whatever. So the commission sends you to her if you have a problem with your hands. And she looked at my hand, and she was like, it's not a good break, but she was like, I think it's probably possible to fight with that. And as soon as she said that, I was like, yeah, class.
Let's go.
Because already I was like, okay, if she even says it's kind of possible, I'm going to do it. But even if she says it's not possible, it's like, well, it feels a little bit possible. And I was like, if I don't do this, I'm definitely done. Do you know what I mean? I just spent a year banned. There was that whole thing of like, I've put so much into this. There's that kind of sunken cost fallacy of like, I've tried so hard at this thing and it seems to be just shitting on me constantly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you do get that, and it wasn't like anything really to say like, oh, it's going to turn out really well. It's like, might not. This could be really shit. This could be just fucking nothing. And like, I'd signed a contract where I wasn't making amazing money regardless. So a little bit of me was like, why the fuck am I still doing this? I'm spending a load of money over here. I'm like paying all these medical bills. I'm paying for my Airbnb. just go and chase this thing with my life. It's like, if you're not going to prove to yourself already that you're a pretty strong, resilient person, what are you doing here? And I had a chat with a few people that'd be close to me, and was like, some of them were like, yeah, probably time to call it a day. And I left it for 2 or 3 days, and I was just like, do you know what? No matter what happens here, this is a class opportunity to prove who you are to yourself. Because, like, you're scared about this situation. You're scared about entering this fight and looking foolish. Because, like, I was definitely a better fighter than your man Didi Shakur. I felt like my skill set's way better than his. I know I've done the work over the years to be a better fighter than him. And I think he knew that too. And I could feel that. I could feel that he was a little bit intimidated by me. And then I was also like, but you talk all this shit about being strong, being resilient, being, entering situations that aren't ideal and just being the best you can be in those situations. It's like, well, here's a fucking chance to show yourself that that's fucking true, So I went and fucking did it. And I was shitting it. That was like, you were talking about that nervous energy, yeah?
Yes.
Look, I was way less nervous walking out for the fight for the title than I was walking out that day in Birmingham with the broken hand. Because I was like, I'm not sure how this holds up. Whereas like in any of the other fights, it's like, no, I know what I can do here. I know what I'm able to do. I couldn't base on my hand. I couldn't cut my wrist. I couldn't do this with my wrist before the fight. I could land. So I could punch proper. And I didn't know that would be the case until I started to warm up. So that was the weird part of it all. It was a mad buzz that whole time.
Was it that took over? Adrenaline took over in there, was it? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. So like, there was just that mad buzz of like, you can get this done. You know you can. And even when I was looking at him, like I was looking at his eyes and I was like, I'm the guy who's here to fuck you. And like that, it sounds like bullshit, but that is real. That is real. Like, so like, I was really putting that energy out there of being like, I am still the Panther. I am still the guy. I'm still the fucking man. I'm still going to fuck this guy. And I like,
you did though. You
yeah, I did. Yeah. And like, there was a couple of series. So at one stage, like, look, I went to take him down early. He elbowed me a few times. I took him down. I went to get his back. And then I realized like, I can't join my hands in any effective way. So I couldn't grip with my own, like, so I was just like, shit. So I was trying like different grips. And I had a position where I probably should have choked him out. And even looking back at the footage, it was like, there's things I could have done there that I could have choked him out.
Yeah.
But my brain was getting in my own way at that stage a little bit. And then he got out. He like escaped the position and he did a decent enough job of escaping. And then once I was like, okay, go. And I just like started swinging on him and I caught him and I dropped him. And then by the end of the first round, it was like, I fucking have him.
Yeah.
Because I could punch and I knew I could punch. And once I was like, yeah, I can connect. Like it was like,
So
yeah.
that's the thing that you were talking about. Instead of, you were problem solving instead of looking for a way out. So it's a mindset.
But that's ingrained, like as in, look, you can definitely change that thing. Like you were saying, like you were talking about earlier about like martial arts, and it's like you get to see who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but who you are kind of changes as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if you were this, because I'm like, look, lads, I'm sitting here being like, yeah, I was like, I know I'm the guy who's going to fuck you, yeah? I wouldn't have felt like that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That wasn't who I was 10 years ago, but I've made myself that guy. Do you know, as in like, any of the
Showing
things
up as well. Like,
yeah,
you
sort
tick
of
these
just showing
boxes.
up again and again, but it's also asking yourself them questions of like, why am I not that guy? Like, what do I need to do to be that guy?
Gotcha.
And that definitely was part of that, of like, look, find that thing that's making you doubt yourself and do your best to eradicate that thing. And like, bring on those questions. At night when I'm going like 6 weeks before the fight, it's like, what if he does this? What if he does that? What if, find the answer. What is the answer? You know what I mean? So, sorry. I went into that fight, I won that one, and then eventually I ended up getting they did like the stadium show. I called out this guy Pavel Langer, who was the #1 contender. I got a show in like a fight in that stadium in Frankfurt. I knocked him out really impressively. It was a really nice knockout. And then after what happened kind of worked out well for me. So Carlos, who was like their really famous champion, he's kind of like their Conor type of character. He was supposed to fight in late November, and his opponent pulled out about a week before my fight in Frankfurt. So I knocked my guy out and he was doing the commentary in the cage, and I was like, I can fight you. So like I walked straight over to him and I was like, you're next, let's go, like this type of thing. And he didn't want it deep down because he knew I was fucking tank. So they kind of like, they dismissed the whole thing, blah, blah. But I did this whole campaign and like call him out. I was basically like, because they're really proud people over there, and all the fighters, they're like, oh, I've never refused a fight, I never do anything like this. And I made it really obvious that he didn't want this fight. and I got a campaign through the Czech media, and I did up like a missing person poster, all this shit. And eventually then, because he was kind of proud, and because Oktagon were like, well, fuck it, we need something for the end of the year show, they gave me the fight with him. And I think that they, at that stage, they knew like probably Will Fleury's going to win that fight. So I got the belt that way. And then about 2 weeks after, or not even 2 weeks, it was like a week after I won the belt, they offered me the chance to go up to heavyweight and win the belt there. So within 10 months within the promotion, I was a double champ.
Come on.
Boom.
Yeah.
But it is like, look, like that's kind of the 10 years beforehand of doing all of that shit and like being the guy who like asks yourself all them fucking questions. When you get to that type of position and there's an opportunity that you can go and exploit being that person, you get to fucking show the world who you are. And like I said, like, look, people are like, oh, it must be class, you're the double champ. It's like, mate, shit's the same, like, you know. I live in the same fucking gaff. I do the same shit most days anyway. You know, am I happier? It's kind of like, it's nice. My parents are fucking proud of me now. You know, as in like, people are happy to see me coming when I'm at home and care. There's things like that. And it's like, yeah, that's nice, right? But it's like, I'm still who I was a year ago. And I was proud of being that guy even a year ago, even though things were shit. Like, not shit, but like, the situation overall was a little bit like, there was more doubt around things of like, is this definitely the right path to be on? Now it's like, yeah, this is definitely the right path to be on.
So just for time, we're going to just have to do the closing. Shane, anything you'd like to say to our viewers? What's next for you, Shane, in your journey?
Hopefully a fucking fight, bro. Because you need to find someone to fight. Do you get me?
What promotion you thinking of going to?
Any promotion, bro. Right now, anywhere. I just need
anywhere?
me first few pro fights.
Gotcha.
So, anybody at 61 kilo.
So
Do you get me?
this summer we should see you back in action.
Yeah, so
Shilling
100%.
people. Yeah.
You heard it here,
They've
guys.
guaranteed me June.
Guaranteed, June. And Will, anything for our viewers? What's next for you?
I'm going to be healing up. I just had surgery on my thumb, so I think I have at least 4 or 5 months of healing up ahead of me. And yeah, I would hope there's this dude, the German Paddy Pimblett. Have you seen him?
The German, yeah, I've seen him. The one that looks like
Neanderthal. Yeah, that guy. I want to fight him next. So he's got a lot of hype in Germany at the moment. You know, he called me out. He's the first dude in my whole career that's ever called me out. So I'm like, cool, I reward you with knocking the fuck out of you.
So 6 months when that hand is healed up, you're
Probably by the time I fight, so it could be about October by the time I fight.
Nice.
I'm hoping it's that Frederick Voskalon guy.
Nice. So we're all looking forward to seeing this because I don't know what was his technique. It's just heal.
Hug the leg.
Just hug the leg.
Yeah, well, that's what made him famous. He hugged that to his leg. Your man dragged him across the cage, and now he's blown
That was
up
him,
because of
was
that.
I seen that video. That was him.
Yeah, that's the dude.
Man, nah.
Yeah, and then,
Like holding it for dear life, and then the guy is just running around and he's still holding it.
yeah,
Nice.
Man, I hope
that
he
dude
doesn't do
thinks
that
he's going to
with
beat
you.
me. Yeah,
I
well,
hope he doesn't do that with you.
I don't know. He'll be unconscious by the time he hits the ground. So like, 2 grand.
So that's the next fight.
That's why soccer kicks should be legal.
Yeah.
He's a good.
It's always dirty things.
Right, we're going to start the campaign, okay?
So thank you everybody for watching Beyond Red. We're joined by Shane Mullen and Will Fleury. We will put their socials and all their everything into the video. We're also joined here by our home, and this will be going up on YouTube soon. And thank you and goodbye. That's a wrap.
Cheers.
Beautiful.
Thanks, man.
Let's get into